Hi, I'm Richard Maraj, Senior Minister at Unity of Phoenix Spiritual Center, and I want to thank you for visiting our website and for tuning in to today's message. If you feel inspired by today's talk, I really encourage you to make a donation by hitting that button below and making a contribution to this ministry. It'll allow us to continue these messages online and to do the great work we do here at Unity of Phoenix, which is to inspire people to live better lives. So thanks for tuning in, thanks for your support, and we hope to see you at a Sunday real soon.
All right. Morning again, everyone. And a special shout out to everyone who watches online, especially the Unity of Rockford, Illinois. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching. Let's cheer for them. Yay, we love you guys. All right. So this newly discovered chapter in the book of Genesis reveals and provides the answer to how did pets come to be. And here's what it says. Adam said to the Lord, when I was in the garden, I walked with you every day. And now I don't see you anymore, and I'm lonesome. And it's difficult for me to remember how much you love me. And God said, no problem. I will create a companion for you that will be with you forever and will be a reflection of my love for you, so that you will never forget how much I love you, even though you can't see me. And regardless of how selfish, regardless of how childish or unlovable you may be, this companion will accept you and love you as I have loved you in spite of yourself. And God created a new animal and a companion to be there for Adam, and it was a good animal, and God was pleased. And the new animal was so pleased with Adam that he wagged his tail. And Adam said, Lord, I've already named all the animals in the kingdom, and I can't think of a name for this new animal. And God said, no problem. Because I've created you this new animal that's a reflection of my love for you, his name will be a reflection of my own name, and we will call this animal Dog. And Dog lived with Adam and was a companion to him and loved him, and Adam was comforted. And God was pleased, and Dog was content and wagged his tail. And after a while it came to pass that Adam's guardian angel said to the Lord, Lord, Adam has become filled with pride, and he struts around and preens like he's a peacock, and he believes that he's worthy of all the adoration. And indeed, this dog loves him and treats him this way, and perhaps maybe a little too well. And the Lord said, no problem. I will create a companion for him who will see him as he is. The companion will remind him of his limitations, so he will know he is not always right and is not always worthy of adoration. And God created Cat to be companion to Adam. And Cat would not obey Adam. And when Adam gazed into Cat's eyes, it reminded him that he was not a supreme being at all. And Adam learned humility. And God was pleased. And Adam was greatly improved. And Dog was happy. And Cat didn't give a hoot one way or the other. One thing I like about animals is animals are who they are. Animals don't like to pretend. A dog is always its true self. A cat is always its true self. But sometimes we as human beings, we aren't always true to ourselves. Sometimes we pretend, sometimes we say things and do things in ways to have other people like us, or for us to look good, or so that we will fit in, or so that we will maintain an image that might not even be the truth of who we are or what we even want, but what we think other people want for us. How many people here have ever said yes when you really wanted to say no? How many people here have ever wanted to speak up and share something that was important to you, but you didn't because you didn't want to rock the boat, you didn't want to get rejected or have anybody laugh or ridicule you? And then how many people here have ever had a dream you wanted to achieve, but someone kind of poo-pooed it and you ended up not doing it because of what someone else thought about it? You know, the fact is, unlike cats and dogs, sometimes we human beings allow what other people think stop us from being who we are. Stop us from sharing ourselves and expressing ourselves in greater and wonderful ways. Sometimes we think we should be how other people think we should be. I saw a quote and it said, anybody who told you to be yourself simply couldn't have given you worse advice. Because sometimes we think we need to go along, to get along, to have people give us acceptance. Saw a fabulous interview with Lady Gaga. And in that interview, she shared that as successful as she is, she suffers from depression and anxiety. And she's tried to get off her medication, and it doesn't tend to go well. She's tried a lot of naturopathic remedies and acupuncture, so on and so forth. And she said, interestingly, the thing that's probably come the closest to help her is that for her to be more true to herself. Because in that industry, there are things they tell you need to do to be liked, to promote your brand, to sell more records. And she really decided there are things she doesn't want to do, the things that aren't true to herself. And she said that by being more true to herself and not being a puppet, not being what everybody thinks a rock star or what the record label says you should do, that is a thing that has helped her be more real and more true and more authentic. And how important is it to be true to ourselves? Shakespeare put it this way, he said, and this above all, to thine own self be true. For it is as natural as the day follows the night, and then one cannot be false to any man. And sometimes we put on masks. Sometimes we act in ways that we think culture tells us we should do, of what success looks like, what beautiful looks like, And what we end up doing is denying and stifling our own souls and our joy and our own fulfillment. Things look pretty on the outside, but aren't as fulfilling on the inside because we're not being true to who we are and the person that we came here to be. I believe one of the greatest gifts you could ever give yourself and give to the world and your family and the people around you is to be true to yourself and live your most authentic life. So we are in week 2 of our 5-week series. We do an annual series called the Songs of Life. I like to pick songs by the Beatles, the Eagles, Rod Stewart, Stevie Wonder. And this year, Craig asked me, he said, well, I'd like to give you a challenge, and I pick your music, and you write the talk. And he always tells me that the first word in theater is to say yes. So I said yes. For 5 weeks, I said yes. Last week, we kicked it off with a fabulous song from Craig's second musical called Enter the Guardsman with a song called In the Long Run. Today, we're going to look at a song from the Broadway musical La Cage aux Folles. And it was in a movie with Robin Williams called Birdcage. How many people ever saw Birdcage or La Cage aux Folles? You get an idea of what the play is about. And so it is about a gay couple. And the husband, George, is a manager of a high-end nightclub that does drag entertainment. And his partner, Albin, is the star and is quite flamboyant. And many years before, George had a relationship with a woman and had a son. But Albin is the one that really raised the son. The mom hardly knew the son. And then the son got engaged, and her fiance's parents were very, very conservative. So the son was very worried about Albin and how that would be accepted. So he asked his father, George, to tell Albin he's not invited to the wedding of his very son that he raised, and that he wouldn't be able to come. And even worse, George agreed to do it. So it was backstage the night before, so he's about to go out, and he finds this out. He finds out his own son is ashamed of him and doesn't want him at his wedding. And in fact, they invited the mother to come, who he didn't even know well, to put on a nice picture of what it would look like. And so Albin finds this out just before he goes on. And he goes on, and he's not able to continue with the performance. And he stops the show and sings this hauntingly powerful, inspiring song, I Am What I Am. This powerful song has become a bit of an anthem, not only for people who are gay and transgendered, but I think for anyone who feels judged and put down, who feels that they're not good enough or not acceptable. And it's to regain our power, to own the truth of who we are, to own our lives, and to not let what anybody says or does stop us from expressing the truth and the beauty and the greatness of who we really are. I think this is an amazing song that teaches a powerful lesson about how to live our life and how to live it more freely and how to live it more fully. And I think there are lessons that we can all use. And so that's what we're going to do today. So I like the opening line, I am what I am. I am my own special creation. And that is the truth. Every one of us is a special creation. The Bible says you are uniquely and wondrously made. Do you know that there's no one else like you in this entire world? There are no fingerprints like yours. There's no face like yours. You are one in a million. You're one in a billion. You're one in actually 7 billion. That there is no one else like you. You are a creation of God. You are a special creation. You are a unique and amazing creation. You are created in the image and likeness of God, and there is only one of you. That is how special and unique you are. Sometimes we don't think of ourselves as unique. We don't think of ourselves as special. We don't think that our lives have meaning or value, and it absolutely does. Every one of us is a unique expression of God. I am a special creation of God. Together, I am a special creation of God. I am uniquely and wondrously made. I am uniquely and wondrously made. I am created in the image and likeness of love. Together, I am created in the image and likeness of love. I am the light of the world. I am the light in the world. I am an amazing, unique spiritual being. Together, I am an amazing, unique spiritual being. Deep breath. So the Bible over and over again tells us how unique and amazing and wonderful we are. And not only unique, amazing, and wonderful, but we are told that God has a plan and a purpose for our lives, and that we shall do the things that He has done and even greater things than these. This is how we are. I am what I am, and I am my own special creation. Let's say that together. I am what I am, and I am my own special creation. Deep breath. And so how many people know this is absolutely true, that you're the light of the world, you're a unique expression of God? And that is true, and yet, how often do we hold back ourselves from speaking our truth, from living the life that we want to live, from expressing our uniqueness, even dressing in the way we want to dress? I did a series last year called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, and this woman who was sitting with people who were in their last 3 to 12 weeks of living noticed there was a consistent pattern. And the number one regret she said that people have at the end of their life is this: I wish I had the courage to live a life that was true to myself rather than the life that other people expected of me. She said people would say things like, why didn't I just do what I wanted? Why did I wait so long to give myself permission to be who I was? You know, why didn't I do the things that I wanted to do, the things that I wanted to create? And the question is, why? Why is it that we put our needs and desires aside when we know how great we are, when we know that we've been created uniquely and wondrously, that we are special and amazing creations? And so I think this song gives us some insights and truths and things to do, you know, to allow ourselves to be more true to ourselves. And the first one is to remember not to hide who we are. And here's what it says: it is my world that I want to take a little pride in. My world, and it's not a place I have to hide in. And I have to say, when I read that, it triggered a scripture that says, do not hide your light under a bushel basket. And the fact is, sometimes we hide our lights. Sometimes when we get judged by someone or told or rejected or we're told that we're inferior or treated like we're inferior, sometimes we draw back and hide. Sometimes when we think that parts of our lives that we should be ashamed of ourselves or guilty, sometimes we pull back. Sometimes we think that our bodies aren't good enough, or we're not tall enough, or beautiful enough, or this enough, or that enough. We end up hiding and withdrawing, playing small, playing safe, and settling, and not even exploring and expressing who we are. We keep going along, to get people's approval so much, saying and doing what other people want, that we don't even know who we are anymore, that we lose our own connection with ourselves. And the truth is, when we hide in any way, we deprive ourselves of joy and love and fulfillment and of our own creative expression. You know, for years, and still I struggle with times about what my legs look like, what my body look like, and sometimes we'll shrink back from situations. I mean, it's amazing. It's our life, and we hide in our own life. And the way for us not to hide and to begin to live and express it is to look at those areas in our lives where we are hiding. Look at areas where we are burying and denying things. Looking at the areas that we think is unacceptable, because it is those areas that we need to love. It is those areas we need to accept. It is those areas we need to bring the light to, because God has created all uniquely and wonderfully. And that can never go away or be lessened, how great and amazing that we are. So what part of you do you find unacceptable? What part of you have you been hiding or denying? What talent, what beauty, what wisdom and creativity? Because it's time to not hide it, but to live it, to express it, and to share it with the world. Amelia Earhart, it was at a time where women were not, in many areas in the workforce. She was the first pilot, and the first pilot to ever fly across the Atlantic Ocean. She didn't hide. She was connected, she was clear, and she had the courage to let herself be known, to speak up, to step up, and to do that amazing thing. Madame Curie, she was discovered radioactivity, and she won the first Nobel Prize ever by a female. In fact, she's still the first female with 2 Nobel Prizes, but she stood up. Oprah Winfrey, Ellen DeGeneres. We know lots of people who were connected, who had the courage and were clear of what they were here to do. And so my question is, what are you here to do? What is it that you're hiding now that it's time for you to give life to give expression to, and to share? Because the truth is, life is celebrating itself as you. And are you rejoicing in that celebration or hiding it? Are you living it or are you denying it? And it is something for all of us to look at. Who have you come here to be? What is the thing that you haven't quite shared fully with the world, or express, or become? And so the first lesson about this is not only knowing the truth of who we are, but making a commitment to not hide, to step up and have the courage to share. Because it takes courage to say yes. It takes courage to say no. E.E. Cummings had a wonderful line. He said, it takes courage to grow up to be who you really are. And it's really true. The question is, do you have that courage to not hide and to live and express your gift, your greatness, your beauty, and your uniqueness? The next line say, I am what I am. I don't want praise. I don't want pity. I bang my own drum. Some think it's noise. I think it's pretty. And one of the things is, when you're true to yourself, one of the realities of life is everybody isn't going to like you. Everyone isn't going to believe in you. Everyone isn't going to support you. Sometimes when you claim the truth of who you are, sometimes family members will disown you. Sometimes they will pour cold water on whatever your dream is. Sometimes your friends won't like you or believe in you. Sometimes they will slip and move away from your life. You will get resistance and fear. But I believe when you're true to yourself, while some will move away, you will draw new people who will support the truth of who you are. You will attract new friends. You will attract new support systems. But the truth is, when you make that decision, you got to be willing to walk through that valley. That sometimes there will be resistance. Sometimes it'll shake up the norm, shake up your family, and you will need to trust that when you walk through that valley, eventually you will come to your own promised land. It might be lonely for a while, but it is the wisest move you can make to reach something greater. Everybody knows I'm a big fan of Muhammad Ali and had the joy of meeting him a number of years ago. And one of the things is, Ali, at the top of his game in his sport back in the 60s, took a stand about him not going to war and not killing other people. And it cost him, and cost him big. And he was hated incredibly by so many. But yet, as he stayed true to himself his entire life, when he died last year, probably the most revered athlete on the planet, and respected, not just for his boxing, but because he was a man who stood up and lived his truth regardless of what anyone said. You look at anyone who's done something great, they receive resistance. Jesus was not hugely supported. Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, anybody who does something great sometimes will have resistance and people who reject and not support them. Everybody wants to be liked. When I became a minister, I just wanted to be liked and never make a bad decision. I wanted all my decisions to be perfect, that would make everybody happy. So at first, I was scared to make any decision at all. And what I found is when I made no decision, some people liked it, some people didn't like it, some were happy and some weren't happy. And then after a while, I thought, I better make a decision sometime soon. And so I would do a little thing, pros and cons, write it all out. And when the pros were higher than the cons, I'd go for it. And you know what? Some people liked it, some people didn't like it, some people were happy, some people were not happy. And I thought, okay, let me make a perfect decision. So how about if I do the pros and cons, and then I'll talk to 3, 4 people, get their advice. So I did that. And you know what? Some people liked it, some people didn't like it, some people were happy, and some were not happy. And then I thought, well, let me pray about it. So I'll do the pros and cons, talk to people, and then I'd pray. You know what? Some people liked it, some people didn't like it. Some people are happy, some people not happy. When I had tremendous amounts of anxiety and I made a decision, I was worried. Some people liked it, some people didn't like it. Some people were happy, not happy. But when I was true to myself, some people liked it, some people didn't like it, some were happy. And the bottom line is, here's a quote that really changed me. Herbert Swope, he said, I can't give you a surefire formula for success, but I can give you a formula for failure. Try to please everyone all the time. And the fact that doesn't work. You need to be true to yourself. Do you know there are relationships with couples of 2 people that they don't agree? Families of 4 don't agree. A church of 1,100. I mean, there's no point. Our country, our world, everybody doesn't agree with everybody. All you need to do, though, is to be true to yourself. To listen to your heart, to listen to your spirit, and do the very best you can. One thing I've come to believe is it takes as much energy to live a fulfilling life where we make a difference that is meaningful. It takes the same energy to live a fearful life that is anxious, where there's struggle, and we don't do much. You know why? Because everyone has a certain life force energy. And you can invest it in anxiety and worrying what other people will think and being scared and holding back, because that all takes energy. Or you can use that same energy to dream big, to go after what you want, to be forgiving and kind and caring and compassionate. And it will create a totally different experience of life. Same energy. The question is, what is your choice? And sometimes you need to make some tough choices. So my question is, what is a tough decision that you need to make right now that you know that some people might not like, but ultimately it will liberate you and make you happier and more in alignment with the truth of who you really are? Last bit. I am what I am, and what I am needs no excuses. I deal my own deck. Sometimes the ace, sometimes the deuces. You know, the fact is we deal our own deck. God has given us the power of free will, the power to choose, the power to change, the power to grow, the power to decide, the power to speak the word, the power to ask, the power to seek, the power to knock. We deal our own deck. No one's dealing from the bottom of the deck. No one's doing anything to us. There's no one to blame or no one to save us. And the fact is, how are you dealing your deck? Because sometimes we will deal ourselves some aces, and sometimes we'll deal ourselves the deuces. Everybody always wants the aces. We all do. You know, but sometimes you get deuces, and the question is, how are you playing your hand? So I play this thing called Words with Friends. Anybody do that? It's a Scrabble game online. You know, I really like it because I like to, I'm not good at spelling, so I'm trying to get myself a little better at it. I play 30 games at a time, but some members of our congregation play. There are 2 females who insist on beating me, not just beating me, but pulverizing me like by 100 points. That's not necessary. I'm your minister. You don't, you know, what? You could win by 30 or 50. Why 200? I just don't see. But anyway, you can tell it's not bothering me at all, but what I'm saying. So here's the thing I love about it. Sometimes I get like an X and a Q and a this, and I get like triple word score, and you get like 50 or 60 points. And it's like, yeah, that's great. We love when we get the aces. Then there are other times in the game, I notice, all the games I play, sometimes you end up getting 4 E's, 2 I's, and a U. And you're thinking, these lousy letters, what kind of crummy letters are? This is terrible. And so I'd get annoyed and try to play and feel frustrated. But what I realized, the more and more games you play, sometimes you get aces and sometimes you get deuces. You don't always get those high scores. So what I do now is now I realize that's part of the game. So let's get creative and enjoy that part, because it's a part of life, it's a part of the game. Playing your deuces. You can learn from it. You can get creativity from it. You can have understanding that helps you in life by it. So my question is, how are you playing the aces in your life? Think of an ace, a mountaintop good thing that's going on. And my question for you that is, are you taking time to enjoy it? Or do you hit your ace and then you're so on to the next goal that you miss appreciating, enjoying, reveling, and rejoicing in how good your aces and the good parts of your life are? And then think of a deuce in your life, not ideal situation. And how are you approaching it? Would you be willing to just accept it that it is, and then be as creative and as joyful and play your hand the best way you can? You know, life is what it is. And we are the ones who deal our own deck, sometimes the aces, sometimes the deuces. The question is, are you enjoying the game? And are you going to keep playing, keep enjoying, keep living, and keep expressing the very best of yourself? You know, I love that line, life is a sham until you say, I am what I am. There's another line that says, it's am, but with a D on it. And I asked them to change it to grand. Life ain't so grand, instead of life ain't worth a, because I didn't want to get people's emails and have people dislike me. So I had them change the lyrics. But I love the emphasis of it, that life isn't worth a whatever, or isn't, or is a sham, or isn't as grand until you're able to say to the world, I am what I am. The fact is, everyone in this life is uniquely and wondrously made, you know, and we can hide from the truth of who we are and uniqueness, or we can have the courage to step up, knowing that some people may not agree with us, and be true to ourselves. Being true to yourself is the greatest gift you can give to yourself. It will give you freedom and liberation, and you will become the most open channel for God's light in this world, in your life, and in your family. Be yourself. No one is better qualified than you to be you. So be you. Because life will not be as rich and meaningful, it will not be as joyful and as fulfilling until you say to the world, I am what I am. God bless you all.